Today's guest, Jeff Malek, survived this French SAS training. It was 13 months long and now lives in Canada and runs an amazing program called the Commando Experience, as well as Canada's largest obstacle course. And I had that privilege of actually going to this with my family, my dad, my brother, my son, and my nephew for a weekend. It was a 45-hour boot camp. And I didn't really know what I was signing up for, if I'm honest. I realized every year I like to learn a new skill. I have this idea that I got from Jesse Itzler called a misogi. And a misogi is a something you do once a year that's kind of defines the year. There's kind of two rules. One, it needs to be difficult and you don't die. And the second is that you have to have a 50% chance of completing it. And so this year for my misogi, I decided I'll do the survival training, not realizing what the heck I had signed up for. And Jeff put me through this 45-hour program, which was incredible. And there were moments when I thought, man, my brother is going to want to kill me because he didn't really know what he was signing up for either. But at the end of it, the outcome from it was amazing. And so if this is the kind of thing that you're into, I think you're going to love this conversation. But even if you're not into this sort of thing, Jeff's mindset on how he resets himself during challenges, how to overcome adversity, communication, his idea that, you need to hunt before you eat. So as a mortgage broker, that means you prospect before you start working on your files. This is a side note. I think that's a really good idea. And I just love this conversation. If you're interested in anything he's up to, on the show notes, you'll be able to click on any of these to track him down on social or check out some of his stuff. But I'm telling you, the entire experience was absolutely worth it. And it's one, I've actually got a certificate from completing it. And I have it on the wall in my office. And I don't put very many things up. So I got to tell you, like, it was that impactful for me and my family. And it's created a whole new dialogue for us, the guys in my immediate family. So I think you're going to enjoy this conversation. Before I jump into it, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, Omwell. Omwell is an amazing tool for Canadian brokers. It allows brokers to create these reports on a monthly basis that get sent to your client, and they have really high engagement rates, 60 to 70% open, shows their buying power, their home equity. And then even on top of that, more recently, the ability for you to be able to find deals in your database. Check them out at omwell.ca/Scott and check out this conversation with Jeff. Hey, Jeff, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Much appreciated.
So, yeah, I'll talk about my experience a little bit later, but I've done some stuff with you recently and it completely changed my whole perspective and mindset, and did it with my family. But before we get into that stuff, I want to just tell me a little bit about yourself and how you went from SAS Special Forces into starting a training company in the Okanagan.
Well, the journey starts in 2018 when I come back from France to Canada for the second time in Quebec City to start. And 2 years after, I decided to start my own business that was based on the training I received in a French SAS, where basically they push your body and mind. You learn so many skills, valuable skills, parachutable skills like survival, how to defend yourself, how to shoot, how to build shelter, all the basic stuff, how to use proper gear, and mostly to show people how much you can push your body and mind through adversity, through pain sometimes, and especially when you go through discomfort. And again, the French SAS selections I went through versus the entrepreneur world is very different but similar on some aspects. And my goal was to give that to Mr. and Mrs. everyone that wanted to push their body and mind.
Mhm.
And for that, I had to use what I learned through the selections, adapt it to the civilian world, and also to compact it because the selections are 13-month long, and the commando training that is a glimpse of what you did we may talk about later is 30 days, and I had to blow that into a 1 to 2 days course.
Yeah, 45 hours is what it is. And
Yeah.
it's a full 45 hours. So you have this background in the special forces, but what skills from that have helped you build this business you're doing now?
What skills? Well, first one, perseverance. Like, to never quit, even though when it's difficult. Sometimes you don't understand the why behind, but everything happens for a reason. It's not just a spiritual thing that I believe into. I think it's actually true when you go through experience, when you accept to take the risk. It leads you very far away. Whatever you start as a project, a sport, a goal, I think that you have to trust the process. You have to be willing to take risks, and you have to be comfortable in the discomfort, which
Mm.
is by, first of all, experiencing it more and more by exposing yourself to discomfort, but also accepting help from others that went through it that can give you the tools to overcome any obstacle. And it can be, a hard conversation, a tough decision to make, maybe, I don't know, a project that requires a lot of resources you cannot find anywhere. So it takes like courage as well to jump into such things. So now how I built it, I always told myself, never I will be an entrepreneur, never I will work for myself. I was pro like entities for who would work for the rest.
Yeah, because the military is not entrepreneurial, and really, I mean, it's kind of maybe in the commando a little bit in the units, but overall, you've got to follow the process, and they outline it for you. And so this is you have to build it yourself. There's a lot of structure, but this structure is whatever you want to make it. That can make it challenging too.
Yeah, so to compare it to maybe to give a better picture of it, entrepreneurship is a lot of structure that you have to build yourself and or pay someone to do it or you find a partner to do so.
Yeah,
In the military, when you're enrolled, you have a structure with a hierarchy and you already have everyone that is actually building everything you need for you to accomplish the mission. Now, in the special force, they train you to be more autonomous in the mission, which they let you think more by yourself, to plan by yourself, to take responsibility and actions to make sure you succeed the mission. You actually have more tools to do it your way,
right.
in a way, you know?
There's more latitude in that because you're often working in small groups away from, and things are going to go sideways. And you have, what did you say? You have to prepare, but then anticipate or adjust to whatever's kind of happening around you. And that's really entrepreneurship or having a mortgage business. You have a plan, and then all of a sudden it gets blown apart, and you have to adapt to it pretty quickly.
Yeah, it was a bit of a clash for me because even though I'm someone that is very structured, the entrepreneur world is so it can be very complicated or even scary, but it's doable. Especially nowadays, you have the tools, you have the resources that can help you to build something sustainable. But as you say, I use a lot of things that I learned through the process that I apply today in the entrepreneurship, which is like, as you mentioned, you have to anticipate because you cannot prepare for everything. So anticipate the best you can to overcome the next obstacle or the next mission. And so you adapt better. Adapting is very important. We ask you to adapt whatever is the weather for the things you cannot control. You have to be able to overcome this and to be also emotionally stable to because it's a lot of emotions to run a business and having the tools and experience the discomfort makes you more comfortable and so you can analyze better, collect information, and overcome the obstacle with the tools and solution you have.
Yeah. So I did some research. Did your dad serve in the French Army and National Police, or did I misread
Correct.
that?
Yes, he did 20 years. Yeah.
How much of that shaped who you are, do you think?
Well, the relationship with my dad is special, but I always seen him as a hero in a way. You know, when you're a little boy, you want to
Yeah.
become a military guy or police officer, all these kind of superhero jobs when you save the world. So I always had a lot of respect for what he did, and he did 20 years in the French SAS. He did 15 years, if not more, as in the national police in France, and he always has been an example and he always brought some structures. We used to go with him when we were younger and spend time with other like tier one operators to jump from planes. I didn't jump from planes, but we could see them like they were practicing during the weekends, during the week, and so on. And so I think when you stay, the environment shapes you as well. I
Yeah.
do. I truly believe that because with who you stay, how you consume, what you eat, it shapes who you become. If you grow up in such an environment, you become the result of it in a way. After you can still shape it, you can take what is good and leave what is bad for you as well. We're still different individuals.
Right. So one of the things that obviously performance under pressure that can happen in SAS happens in. So what do they teach you in the SAS on how to train people to stay calm when everything's going sideways? And is it a teachable skill, or is it you think people are just wired different?
I think there is a mix of both. People wired differently. It also depends on the approach. As I say, if we did the 45 hours the way I went through it, we would lose like 75% of people.
I bet you
Uh,
would.
so
You'd lose most civilians would be out. We're like, we're out of here. Yeah.
Yes, even though it's intense, I had to adapt it to the civilian world. For example, the word we use, or the length of the exercises, or the elements we put you in, like water. There is many things in the way they treat you in a way. I mean, we're still humans, they treat us well, but they push you in the way they want to play with our limits. Now, having said that, they also want really emotionally stable people because stress is a trigger, right? And some people react very badly to stress. They start to breathe heavily and so on. And if they don't have the tools, it's hard for them to overcome. And they say it as a limit, there is a wall in front of them. Where
Right.
sometimes, of course, they teach us, guys, you have to remain calm. Think about family. Think about the good thing. You remember when I say when you were in cold water, I was
Yeah.
always saying it's 30 degrees water. There's
Yeah.
palm trees around.
Palm trees, 30 degrees. I was like, what are you talking about?
And then unconsciously, the brain is like, yeah, 30 degrees. Think about this. And when you think about the positive things, the good things, the comfortable things, the elements you're in are right now more comfortable to overcome because you put yourself in a different environment than the one you are in. It's
Right.
easier to overcome it than just being like, it's cold, it's terrible, I want to get out. And this is kind of a negative thoughts that you feed and gonna take over your actions.
Yeah, like I don't want to give away the experience because if anybody's listening, I'm going to put links to it. You got to, if it's something you're into, check it out. It was amazing. I'll talk about that one. So you had us go in this river. The water was cold and moving, and we first were like, okay, this is. I didn't think it was that big of a deal, like being in the water. But then it kept going longer, and then you had us do the exercise and holding stuff over our head. And then I was like, okay, this is getting because we were all laughing and joking like it was no big
I
deal. And
remember
then,
that.
but it was realized we're not getting out anytime soon. So like we better get really comfortable in here. And then a bunch of us got out, and then you made Carson and Drake go back in. And I swear, if you would have told me, I think I would have been done right there. I was freezing when you get out, especially you're dripping wet. And he went back in like not. I was just like super proud dad moment, but he went back in, and I was like, man, I don't know if I would have done it if you would have said it to me. I think I would have cracked there. And so thank you for not breaking me.
Yeah, sometimes we have to adapt and select the right people. There is a kind of exercise that is made for specific people. We
Yeah.
read people the best we can, and as you could see, we kept certain people in it because we knew it was a moment for them to grow and to understand they're capable than more than they think.
Right. Yeah, I saw that with Matthew as well. It was incredible. Like that kid has got a lot. He's a lot of drive that he was maybe even aware of. So here's the next kind of question: what are the physical signs that someone's losing their composure? And this is true even in our industry. And how do you pull themselves back in the moment? So if you start, whether it's in this case, it's physical, stress or whatever. But what are the signs of losing composure, and how do you pull yourself back? What are the things you can do?
Yeah, very good question. So, from my experience, not just in that kind of courses, but also whatever it's entrepreneurship or even training, workouts, or competition, what I see most of the time, people are afraid of losing control. We like to be in control, especially in entrepreneurship. We love to have control of everything, making sure it's going well, and to better anticipate and adapt and overcome. And once you losing control, especially on things that you cannot control, which is the weather, the fact you're cold, the fact you're tired. These things you can, but you cannot really control it right away. You cannot change the outcome right now. And what I see is, first of all, people start to stress. They start to overthink. They start to ask too much questions, or they shut down. Some people just shut down and they're like breaking inside. Say, what am I going to do? It's tough. I don't know what to do. I feel like slowing down or impacting others as well. And what I like to say is like, okay, just take a deep breath. And breathing is a powerful tool that everybody can access right now, right here, right now. And I myself use it and used it a lot of time during the selections where you're stressed, you don't know the outcomes, you cannot control it, you cannot control what the person's gonna say or think about you. The only thing you can do is you do your best and take 3 deep breaths and you calm your heartbeat and you calm your nervous system. So here, as soon as you start to calm down, you start to have a clearer mind, and it's easier for you to relate and being like, look, it's a shitty situation. Here, what I can control. Here, what I cannot control. How can I have the best outcome from it? And taking a deep breath helps to give some space around you and to welcome just the good ideas. So breathing techniques is good. The second thing is if you have a mentor or a business partner or someone that you love or that loves you and understand what you're going through, having a conversation with them, asking from them another perspective is helpful as well to be like, I sing as something crazy, but in the end, it's not that bad. So maybe I should just relax a bit, and it's helpful to regulate as well.
Mhm.
Maybe spending some times in nature. Nature is free, is natural, and you can just access it. Just go for a walk if you have access to time as well. Going in nature and just to clear your mind and so on. The other thing is to remind yourself, and I think you're going to talk to you. I'm sure now, once you go through hard stuff, when it's a bit cold outside, you think about the hard stuff you did in the past. You can be like, it's nothing compared to what I
No.
experienced
Yeah,
before.
you have a new threshold. That's the great part about doing difficult challenges because I had done some stuff before, but nothing like this. And now my new set point for what I think is hard is completely smashed. Like smashed beyond. I've done a 50K run before. That was nothing compared to this. But that's a good place to be because then when you are facing that struggle, whatever it is, you can go, wait a second, this sucks and it's hard, but I'd rather this thing I'm dealing with right now than do that again because that
Yeah.
was way harder. And so I do think there's something about having these things sort of piled away in your memory to know what you're capable of.
Yeah, and I will ask everybody that is listening to us, look back all those challenges you went through, and how now it's almost a joke. You're almost like, it wasn't that bad since I
Mm,
lived all
yeah.
these experiences, and then you can relate. You gain confidence, and your confidence is boosted, and you feel more capable, like a superhero, and you accept challenges easily than if it was the first time you put yourself into such a discomfort zone. So the other thing I would say to people, if they have the luxury to do so, is to put themselves in such situation. Take the risk to talk to that person. Take the risk to invest into that stock. Take the risk to, I don't know, sell yourself in a different way that you never thought
Right.
possible before. By doing so, you gain confidence. What is good to do, what is bad to do, and then you can select because of your own experience.
Right. Yeah, that's good. So I want to talk about kind of mindset and discipline. So what does your morning look like right now? And has it changed from being active duty versus now that you're running a business?
Well, it's I'm still a human being, so I try to really listen to the body and mind, because we live in a world where everything gotta go fast, and you have to
Hmm.
accomplish so many tasks in a day that at some point we become overloaded, and it's actually working against us. So it's important to bring the basics of a structure with is taking care of you, taking care of the business, taking care of the loved one, because your family is very important, or your friends, and you have to water what you care, but also what is helping you into your journey. So first of all, what I do in the morning is I wake up, I drink a glass of water, take my supplements like vitamin and so on and
Yeah.
minerals, and then I do a workout. It doesn't have to be 2 hours in the gym. You can do a 10
Do
minute
you work out at home or do you go to a gym or what do you do usually? And is it
Yeah.
every day?
Now I work out at home. I don't even have access to a gym because I can work directly here. I optimize my time. I avoid some traveling as well. But I don't have a full gym. I just mostly do like some basic body weight workout, have some dumbbells and have a boxing bag and so on. But it really depends what you want to do. My goal is to stay fit and combat ready for anything that happen. I train for the reality, and it keeps my body overall like healthy, and I avoid injuries as well. This is what I do in the morning, maximum 45 minutes an hour. And then I eat. Eating well is very important as well. And sleep. Sleep is so important. And everything is linked, because what you eat, what you do is linked to the quality of sleep you're going to have as well. And after that, usually what I do sometimes before the workout and right after, I get some emails done for the rest of the day, or I try to accomplish something. I believe that if we connect to our deeper instinct, you don't eat before you hunt.
Right.
So hunting for me is I have to make something valuable, working on something, sending emails.
So in our business, it's prospecting or, marketing or prospecting to drive more business. I like that. So you don't eat before you hunt. And that way you're focusing on that first.
Yeah, so I basically try to do something creative before actually eating. So first of all, it also give me a goal for the rest of the day, or I can start something. I know I get some food and I'm ready for the day. I get a cold shower. Cold shower is great. I started with 30 seconds cold shower. You have to build it. Now I do 2 minutes, no problem, and I feel fresh. I feel active, and I can go deeper into the work after that. Of course, my days are never the same as well. As you can see, like when we go through a weekend, we don't sleep as much as you do. It's very demanding.
Oh, we,
And
we didn't sleep a lot either, but I'm sure you're like,
no, we don't sleep as much, if not at all, for some of them, because after we have to talk about the participants, how we
yeah.
adapt and so on, and taking care of ourselves as well. But basically, to come back to my routine, waking up, drinking water, supplements, working out, food, or a bit of work as well. And then I go back to with a cold shower, and then I go back to work depending what I need to do. So I try to keep that structure, working on myself, working on the business, and working on the
And what
people
about
around.
on weekends? Is it the same on weekends or is it different? Do you take days off training?
No, you know what? Actually, yeah, I have days off for training. I do a Greek program, which means like I work out 3 days at different intensity, and the fourth day is the rest, and then I repeat. So it keeps my body on a good pace. I'm not too tired as well. The goal is not to make myself tired. My goal is to keep myself performant. And mostly the weekends for me are busy. So I try to keep myself at a Sunday morning for an hour or two with sparring with the boys and the girls that want to do some sparring and do some martial arts. This is what I do as well. But I try to keep myself good in every environment. I sometimes go swimming, I do martial arts, I do bodyweight workout, I do stretching and so on. I try to prioritize that, because in the end, it's about you. And if they say something like, when you're healthy, you wish you have everything, but when you're unhealthy, you just wish one thing, it's to be healthy, because
Yeah.
if you're not healthy, you cannot take care of everything else. And that's why investing in yourself is the best thing you can do.
Yeah, I say that you can have 99 problems, but as soon as you have a health problem, you only have
Exactly.
one. You only got one problem now. The rest of them do not matter. It's the
Yeah.
health is going to eliminate all the rest of them. So you train people, civilians, not been in the military. What's the number one mindset shift that you see them make before the physical stuff even matters?
So the first thing I see, and the one you did, the commando experience, is one of the activity we do. But any activity we do, we tell people that you're gonna have fun, but mostly you're gonna leave that place, which is the obstacle course, with a sense of accomplishing or overcoming a fear. And everybody feels so confident and proud of who they are and what they are capable of, even though they never thought it would be possible. Even when we tell them what's the plan, because you didn't know what would happen at all, which is more difficult to, because you don't know, you cannot control what's coming. But people
Yeah.
sometimes know what's coming up, but they don't expect to grow so much. The best thing and the most valuable thing I see is people living with a boosted confidence, and they want to come back because it becomes addictive. It's not
Yeah.
the, pardon my words, but the shitty dopamine you can get through social media or something easy to do. You overcome something you have to accomplish physically. Maybe you have to use your proper communication skills to overcome the obstacle. And then you learn so much about how you word what you like, how to ask for help, how to offer help, how capable you are physically and mentally, even though it looks impossible, whenever you thought you could do it. People leave the course with this sense of accomplishment and very positive and healthy dopamine that people crave after that. So that's what I would see the most mentally.
Yeah, it was definitely. Amy was in our group, and she was like incredible. And the thing I know, you sent all the photos. There isn't a photo she's not smiling. And if you look at me, most of the time, my face, my mouth, I look like I'm ready to die. And I look at her and go, she smiled the entire time. Like that
Yeah.
girl is, her mindset was incredible. Like I was so impressed with her. And I mean, Drake was he's like Captain America. Like the guy's fit and parkour and stuff. But what I observed is that what you're really looking at is you're looking at attitude and then effort. That's really the key. Like it's attitude, effort. The three things I thought, and this is just my own observation. You looked at attitude, effort, and then somebody who was, and the thing Amy had that I think she did better than anybody else is she looked out for other people. She was always looking out for my dad. She was looking out for this person. And so she had an amazing attitude, always effort. Thing I realized is you can show up to this thing, you can be like super fit. You guys will find their limit. It doesn't matter how fit you are. Like you're going to find their limit. And then when you get to the limit, then it's like now it comes down to your attitude and your effort. And do you care for other people and do you look out for others? As opposed to, I found I really became singularly focused on my own. I was in survival mode. Right. And I'd said to
Yeah.
you at one point, I mentally broke. I can't lead this right now. And you had me doing something and I stepped down. And that is a hard thing for me to say as a person who's a leader. But I got to that place and then I watched Amy just take it and
Yeah.
I was so impressed with her. I messaged her after. I said, I hope you go in the police force. I think you're amazing. But if you don't, I will hire you in a second. Like I honest to God. And I mean it
That's
because
great.
her attitude and like you've seen it, like I'd work with something like that all day long. Right. Yeah. Like you got me right to my limit. And then I cracked, but didn't break. And then I was able to hold it together, which I was grateful for by the end. So it was amazing.
Well, it's like with your brother, we see people breaking, but that's the goal. We want you to break the limits to be able to rebound and see, like, look, I'm capable and more. And remember the thing we said right in the beginning is like this journey, this whatever is the course or the journey, even the entrepreneurship, it's not about yourself. It's about the people. And if you're not capable to work with people, to offer help at some point, or to accept help to rebound and go further, there is an issue here. You won't go further
No.
by yourself. You're gonna go faster for moments, but as a group, you go further. And sometimes you brought your skills. Like I remember, you were very proactive into the land navigation thing. You were very proactive, motivated. Where some of them were like more like following. You were
Mhm.
more of a leader. And so sometimes it's good to step back and let the right people doing the right thing at the right moment.
Yes. That's the other thing I realize is that me stepping down, because I have a natural tendency to want to just grab a hold, I'll do it. But letting other people do it is realizing that there's so much more capability around me. And so there's a lot of lessons that I definitely picked up from. And then one other thing I noticed you did was you being able to read people. So my brother cracked, as you say at one point.
Yeah.
But then the next kind of obstacle you gave us, you made him the leader of it. I saw a shift from that point on. It was kind of like recognizing that this person who was just about to crack, you'd think the leadership would have been the wrong thing, but it was actually the right call. Talk to me about that. And I'm sure you guys have done this many times before, but that was interesting to me.
We've done that, and we had people actually like crumbling under stress or pressure by being a leader. But the thing sometimes it worked very well, like I did with your brother, is like instead of focusing on his state of mind and body, like when he hurts, he's tired, he had to focus on the team and a solution to overcome the obstacle. Where here it become more a responsibility instead of just being like art stuff, I want to leave, I don't want to be there. No, now I have a task. And sometimes when you don't know what to do, just do a little things that make me can switch the entire journey and make it more enjoyable and give you a kind of a superpower on the moment.
Right. I have a question for you. So you're coaching a mortgage broker right now, and they're in a slump, and their deals are kind of falling apart. Their confidence. What would be the first thing you'd have them do? Think of it like an entrepreneur. So somebody in our business. Our business is a sales business, and so
Okay.
typically where people get stuck is in making sales calls or doing prospecting, and they get uncomfortable with it. But if they're say things aren't going well for them, like what would you advise somebody who's in that state to do to try to get out of that?
Okay. So the first thing is, when you have a goal, whatever is to sell, you have to attack the journey like step by step. Don't try to see the big thing as a whole thing to accomplish right now. No, start to have a conversation with one person, start to put some little task, and it becomes confidence because the little tasks, they are easier to accomplish. It's less
Right.
pressure. And the more you accomplish them, the more you gain confidence and you see the building being built up, you start to see the actual result. So instead of having like to be too hungry to the point where it becomes maybe it looks like too much to overcome or to accomplish, just go step by step. The second thing is take a deep breath and be like, what do you got to lose? Both ways you're gonna learn, right? You can win or learn, like Mandela said. You cannot lose. In the end, you know what to do and not to do next time. And maybe I would tell them, look, if you don't feel confident enough, ask for help. We figured out something not just during that course, but in every obstacle course session or team building session we have. We ask people to ask for help. This is okay
Mhm.
to ask for help. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a bad person or unprofessional. It actually makes you smarter because you want to know, hey, do you have another more proactive, easier method to overcome that obstacle? It doesn't mean taking shortcuts because sometimes shortcuts just leads you nowhere or you miss some information.
Yeah, Carson tried that. He
Carson,
suggested
try
it.
that. It was like, why do we don't cut directly to the obstacle course? Because you have to learn something through that. So you know what? Let's take the bigger loop.
That's really good, man. And the way I think about that too, it's like they call it proximal sub goals. So you've got the big goal, you just break down the small step. If you use the obstacle course metaphor and there's 25 obstacles, you're not thinking about the one, oh man, that number 13 obstacle. You just focus on the one right in front of you and
Yes.
do that one. And it's the same thing in your mortgage business. If you're worried about whatever outcome you're looking for, just do the single action and try to build some momentum around it. That's really good, man. Where can people find you online? So, like, I'm going to put links to your site and stuff on the show notes, but maybe just if they're listening, where can they find you?
Sure. Well, first of all, if they love podcasts, I have the podcast MLK Abilities podcast available on YouTube and all the different platforms. And I talk about mindset, fitness. I also talk about my journey through the selections and so on, what we do, etc. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. We have two websites. The first one is mlkabilities.com, which is more like the boot camps and fitness aspect, self-defense as well, knife defense, and also tactical courses for law enforcement and armed professionals. And the other one is Okanagan Wars Adventure, which is the obstacle course facility. This is where you actually came to. And it's Canada's largest obstacle course. We have now 46 obstacles built. We plan to have 75 and more, and this is a permanent one. We do some team buildings, retreats, boot camps, and also we welcome sports teams, corporates, schools. We adapt to your needs. This is in a beautiful natural environment in the Okanagan.
With wild horses, by the way, that are
Yeah,
everywhere.
wild horses. Last time I actually saw the bear and coyotes. This is just a perfect place to reconnect to yourself and to thrive. Aside of that, yeah, each platform has its own name. So we have ML Capabilities and Okanagan Wars Adventure, all platforms. We have a newsletter as well where you can follow us and follow what's coming up if you're more like an email person. And we have the first type of obstacle course race. Think about Spartan race, but they don't come over here in Western Canada. So we decided to organize our own.
Yeah, I would be at this one, except I'm getting married and going away.
Wow,
So it'll be
this
next
is
time.
way more important. So I don't
Yeah,
blame you.
we'll be there though the next time. Question I wanted to ask, your last name is Malek, but what does MLK stand for? Or is it just,
Yeah, good question. So basically, in the military, especially in the French one. It depends on the military, but in France, to tag your gear, they ask you to use the first, center, and last consonant, and it builds your own tag. So me, Malek, Malek, I take the first, the center, and the last. It makes MLK. So for you, what's it?
Heck, for a PFD or PKD?
PKD maybe? Yeah, yeah, PKD. You can still choose the one in the center, but this is where it's from. So, and the abilities, it's like my abilities I want to give back to the people from my own experience.
I think I go PKD.
Yeah,
PFD
go
sounds like
cool.
it's like a PDF. I don't want to be a
Yeah.
PDF. Well, man, hey, this is awesome, Jeff. Again, that whole experience was just life changing. And I heard my brother on the phone after, and he was talking to his girlfriend, and he's like, it was the worst experience and the most amazing experience that I've ever been through. And I think that's an accurate way to do it. Like, if you'd like to push yourself, I'm telling you, go check this out. It's such an amazing experience, and it will change you for sure. Like,
It's
it was
all, yeah.
amazing that we got to do it. So thanks, brother, for taking the time.
Thanks to you, and hope to see you again maybe for another experience. Never know.
Hey, thanks again for listening, and hopefully you were inspired by my conversation with Jeff. I know I was. The whole weekend was amazing for me. If you are a mortgage broker and you think, man, I need to get my mindset dialed in, you can attend his thing for sure. But if you want to do something on an ongoing basis, we do these mortgage mindset daily calls, and we've got a bunch of brokers that show up to those and do them every day at 6 a.m. Pacific, so whatever time zone you're in. And we've got people from all over the country that join them. And our whole goal is to go deep into mindset, because I believe that if we can get what's going on between your ears sorted out, a lot of other things will become much, much easier for you. So check that out. You can find that on my socials, on this show notes, or shoot me an email, scott@lovemortgagebrokering.com. I'd be happy to send you the details on that. Thanks for listening. And as I always say, there's no problem in your mortgage business someone else hasn't already solved. Your problem is finding someone who's got the answers. My goal is that this show provides some of those answers. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you on the next episode.